Hey, what's up, y'all? How's everybody doing this morning? I'm playing hooky a little bit, kind of. I have some work that I'm supposed to be doing for behind the scenes stuff, and honestly, I really just don't feel like doing it quite yet. So I can justify this as, hey, I'm working. That way that my boss doesn't get in trouble, or I don't get in trouble with my boss, i.e. Amanda. All right? So, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Apparently she's watching, so she may have heard that, but we won't tell her if she's not, right? Right? All right. So what do you got for me today? I just didn't feel like working yet. That's as far as, I got emails to do. I got heavy con invites to figure out and all that stuff. And yeah, I know. I just didn't feel like doing it yet. You have days like that at work, do you not? So, yeah. All right. Hopefully y'all understand. Hopefully. All right. There we go. Yes, I am totally using you guys, Marlon. Absolutely, 100%. Yes, using you as the excuse. Earl Grey, for those wondering. And by the way, I was smart today. I'm trying something. So we have one of those Mr. Coffee, coffee mug, tea warmer thingies. Is that? No, it's not too hot. I can show you guys. So, see? Like that, right? You set your coffee or tea, in my case, on it, and it stays warm. Because usually by the end of this, if I haven't finished it, it's ice cold. This way I get to enjoy warm tea the entire time. Yeah, all right. Yeah, see? Okay, you guys get it. All right. Anthony asks, how long do you want us to help you procrastinate for? Let's say till 1:30. How's that? All right. So it's about an hour and 10 minutes. If it goes a little short, so be it. That's fine. All right. Let's see. Procrastinate with Asher and peanut butter. That video is coming, people. So all our patrons, he's actually sleeping right there on the other side of the table, as he is wont to do. He just had breakfast, brunch, whatever. So he's PTF right now. So yeah. Andrew asks, you're known as a great cook. I don't know about, I think I'm pretty good, at least, yeah. What new recipes are you cooking these days? Honestly, not a lot of new recipes. Not doing a ton of cooking during the Advent, honestly, because Sundays are usually day streams, right? Saturdays and Sundays. And so usually Saturdays tend to be game days. So I'm not doing a ton of cooking then. We do all of our grocery shopping on Fridays for the week. And then Sunday, it's either me or Dana that cooks for the week, kind of, and then we eat the leftovers for the week. So we've been kind of helping each other out on that. So not a ton of cooking, but I will say this. We have our traditional. There we go. Something Amanda and I started a number of years ago. We make seafood, or I make lobster bisque from scratch in bread bowls. And we have that in shrimp cocktail with the spiciest, most delicious cocktail sauce you've ever had in your life. That's our traditional Christmas Eve dinner. And that actually is why Christmas Tree, our final stream of the year, is in the morning, so that I have time to be able to cook all that. Let's see. And then Christmas Day, I tend to make a prime rib. That's because, honestly, my favorite part of the prime rib is chef's priority, or what's the word? Okay, I can't think of it. Anyway, like the joys of being the chef is I get to eat the ribs, or at least one of them. So cut the ribs out. Well, usually I'll cut the ribs from the prime rib beforehand, tie them up with butcher's twine, and then roast it. And then when it comes off, you cut the twine, and look, the ribs just fall off. You cut individual ribs, eat them over the sink. Oh, so good with with the salt rub, the salt and herbs on the outside. Proper. Make some Yorkshire pudding to go with it. And I'm not sure what we're going to do for sides this year. Probably my chipotle sweet potatoes for me. And then I know Dana wants to make her mom's dressing or stuffing, whatever. And like kind of a candied sweet potato, which they're good. They're just, I prefer chipotle sweet potatoes. So we'll probably get some mashed potatoes, stuff like that. So other than that, we're actually going to figure out the entire menu tonight. And I think she's going to make a peanut butter torte and everything as well. So yeah. So yeah, there you go. That long answer, well, i.e. a standard answer from me, right? Casey asked, what did Banker Dave say last night? Couldn't make it out. You're going to have to go back and figure that one out yourself, Casey. Sorry. But I can honestly swear, my sides still hurt from laughing that hard. That was the hardest I laughed the entire calendar year in 2017. Whoo. I was crying. I was laughing so hard last night. That was amazing. That was... And everybody else around the table caught it. Because Matt has really good control of himself. And talking about brain goo, McChesney Matt, because you saw that after it was said, his eyes just did one of these. And he was like, did I just hear that? And then he looked up, yeah, I just heard that. And then Clayker and I I couldn't look at him. Couldn't look at Clayker the rest of the night. Every time I did, I was busting up. So anyway, hopefully that made good watching. I don't know if it did, but you know what? In that one case, I don't care because that was the hardest I've laughed in memory. So since I think it was Matt said the only time else he's ever seen me laugh that hard is playing Time's Up. So there's that. Simon, hey Edward, just wanted to say thanks for the wonderful Advent calendar and Merry Christmas. Thank you, Simon. Merry Christmas to you as well. And I'm glad that everyone's enjoying it, or at least those that have spoken up. No one has told us, you know what, stop doing it. That sucks. I'm not enjoying that. I can't imagine they will. But everyone that has spoken up has said they've enjoyed it. So I'm glad to hear, because it's been an insane amount of work, especially by Amanda. Even though she's not been on all the streams, I'm trying to do my part both with Matt and Amanda, trying to manage their workloads a little bit when it comes to being on the streams, because y'all might not realize this, but being on camera like this, it wears on you. And in my case, especially not so much this is pretty laid back for me. But when it comes to the live streams, I mean, when you actually stop and think about everything that everyone's having to do, you're having to, for all the other players, you're having to kind of self-edit and make sure that you're not saying anything too off kilter, at least ones that aren't on the Glory to Rome streams. And then from there, you have to focus on playing your game, try not to look like an idiot, and also think out, and talk out your moves. You guys should try that sometime and see how that works with your local group and see what that does. I'm curious to hear on that. And for me, obviously, I got to keep the streams running. I'm the one switching the cameras. If y'all don't know, so here's a little behind the scenes secret. Out of our entire studio, my most excited and favorite thing about the entire studio is that little keyboard right there that you guys never see. That sits right here. And so it allows me to switch the cameras. So I'm the one doing all the dynamic switching, running the streams, interacting with the chat most of the time, keeping the game going. Oh yeah, and trying to play competently. So it takes a lot out of us. So I'm really, really excited to hear that people are enjoying it as much as they are. Ultimately, that's what it's here for, is for you guys to enjoy it. And hopefully it helps you guys be able to either learn the games yourselves and or help your group teach, or if you're the one teaching, teach the rest of your group how to play the games. And that was kind of the premise of why we wanted to start doing this, as well as the interaction, obviously. So hopefully you guys are digging it. It sounds like the majority of you are. So thanks again, Simon. I appreciate that. And yes, Asher is quite the celeb. He is. I don't think he cares unless celebrity comes with peanut butter and treats of various kinds. Yeah. It's funny, I mentioned treats and I get an ear twitch. That's pretty funny. He's got us trained, not the other way around. Kurt asks, I know I'm in the minority, but I enjoy playing heavy games solo. Would you ever consider doing a once a month heavy solo game suggestion? Plus, it's hard for me to find a game group. Absolutely, Kurt. That's a great idea. So I'll tell you what, why don't you email us the idea, because I will promptly forget if it's not here, if you don't email it. Email it to me, contact@heavycardboard.com, and yeah, we'll hook that up. I love the idea. Plus, it's something I can do during the day, which I'm not sure where you're from or where you hail from, Kurt. But I imagine, given your English there, that it's somewhere in the States or Canada, so that it'll be during your work day. But I'm okay with that if you're okay with that. Plus, the folks overseas might enjoy that. That's a great idea. And I'm not talking necessarily just war games. I'm talking heavy Euros, etc. I think that'd be really cool, and it's something I can do. So great idea. So yeah, email me and we'll get on that. Cool. Michael asks, what game did you not get to play during the Advent that you wanted to play, if any? A lot. Democracy Under Siege and Secrets of the Third Reich. Both of those from 4Dados. Well, Secrets of the Third Reich, this is on them. So when they gave us the review copy of this at Essen, it was an open copy. Doesn't have stickers in it. We need the stickers. And they're not like flavor stickers, like they have information on them. So we need the stickers. So I emailed them. Haven't heard back. So there's that. Democracy Under Siege, just didn't have time to get ready for it because that's a pretty involved game. So I would have liked to have played that. Dominant Species is one that we wanted to, but I think we're going to keep that in our back pocket until January or February. Man, there are literally hundreds of games downstairs that I want to stream. So we'll keep it to those. All right. Yeah. We'll keep it to that. Marlon asks, how are you feeling? Holding up through the Advent quite well. Thank you, sir. Maybe saw one stream where you were a little off, but most were on the ball. I'm actually doing pretty good, in all honesty. Last week, I was starting to hit the wall a little bit. But the nice thing is we scheduled everything to where if you guys noticed, I didn't have to do most of the teaching last week. And that actually is the majority of my prep work, is having to get the teaching scripts ready for the live streams. And so I didn't have to do that a lot last week, which helped me sleep in a little bit here or there and just kind of take some downtime. And then this weekend, believe it or not, Sunday's Combat Commander live stream, I wasn't super excited about it because, as y'all know, I'm not terribly keen on tactical war games, but that was so much fun. It was such a hoot. We had such a blast playing that, Brian and I. It kind of reinvigorated me a bit. And last night, just I'm full of energy. I mean, here I am. 26 isn't enough. Let's do 27. And so here I am. So no, that, and I'm excited about the games this week, which helps keep me going. Last week was a lot of lighter games, all enjoyable, mind you, and ones I was looking forward to, except maybe Combat Commander. But that ended up to be arguably the best live stream we've done. And so, yeah, I'm excited about everything this week. So yeah. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm glad to hear that I'm able to carry the energy through, because I was a little worried that I would get a little run down here and there. And I'm a little disappointed to hear that you could tell on one of them that was the case. Disappointed in me, I mean. But outside of that, I'd say pretty good. Yeah. So Thanks for asking. So yeah, pretty good so far. And I guess really you guys are the judges of that, right? Like, does it feel like I'm doing well? Because if so, then mission accomplished, right? Check. Philip, okay. When do you think the Patreon and order during December might go out after the first of the year when we recover from the Advent? No, actually, Amanda has shipped upwards of like 50 or 60 orders in the last week. And that's part of the reason you guys didn't see her much on the streams last week is she was in the office or really in the living room, which has become the shipping center of HCHQ to ship everything out. And so the goal is to have everything out by next Wednesday. And there's a couple things that were short. There were 4 items that we were short that we have to reorder for. And all those people are getting everything else that they ordered except for those things until we're able to reorder them. And then we were short a number of t-shirts, which that's a good problem to have. And obviously, we're still waiting on Ian O'Toole's final design, which, by the way, I finally saw it. It's amazing. So he asked us for some feedback after he showed us the first take on it and gave him a couple of ideas, suggestions. I want to tread carefully because this is very much his thing. We just said, hey, how about this or how about that? So we're still waiting on that to be finished. But once that's finished, the nice thing about that is we get all our t-shirts made locally, and we're real happy with their quality. And as you guys know that have our t-shirts. So we actually have to make another order today. As soon as I'm off the live stream, I'll be putting in a new order. We're going to be offering up a new color. We're going to be offering up a black t-shirt for those that are interested. However, those are only going to be available to patrons through the end of the year. And then after that, other folks can order them. But that's one of the perks of being a patron is you get the new color choices first. Anyway, so once we get those, we should have those either by the end of the week or by Monday of next week. And then everything will be out by Wednesday, except for those 4 items that folks are waiting for and the Ian O'Toole patron-only t-shirt. So hopefully that answers it. Sorry about the delay, but we appreciate everybody being patient. And the goal is after that, once all the orders go out, to have a 24-hour turnaround time from when we get orders to when they ship out, provided we have the stuff in stock. If not, then as soon as we get it in stock, have it out the next day. So there's that. All right, cool. Good evening. Asbjorn, is that how you say that? Asbjorn? Runer asks, where do you find your inspiration for cooking? And do you like the molecular gastronomy trend, or do you cook more by heart? So as y'all know, I don't find myself terribly creative. I don't think of myself as terribly creative. I'm more analytical, more math-based, there's a reason the reviews are done the way they are on our show, as opposed to, say, like the fellows over on Punching Cardboard or, Brawling Brothers, Low Player Count, or at least Travis when he does his reviews, stuff like that, to where they're a little bit more free-flowing. I need the structure because I'm just not good at creative stuff, even though folks say, ooh, this is creative. It's different, though, I feel like. Anyway, so that kind of carries over to cooking. Cooking is the one place where I feel like I can try and be creative a little bit and just kind of wing it. Like, I'll find a recipe. Oh, that sounds interesting. And I tend to tweak it here and there to make it my own, and then use it if it's good and learn from that and kind of, trial and error. And thankfully, I have 3 hungry mouse here at the house that enjoy the trial and error process for the most part, as long as it's not too terribly spicy for some of them. And no, I definitely, it's more or less by feel, I guess. I have to have a recipe. Like, I can't just come up with something out of the blue. I'm not, again, that goes back to that creative thing. I'm not real good at that. I guess I could, like, oh, hey, what do we have? Kind of like chopped. Like, oh, we have this, this, and this in the house. What can I make of that? I can make a hash, basic stuff like that. But I'm not good at coming up with my own recipes. I'll think of ideas and I'll Google for pictures. I'll be like, oh, that looks good. What is that? And go from there. So, and molecular gastronomy, that's not my bag. I've never tried it, never messed with it, never anything like that. Not saying I wouldn't. I don't have the time right now. I haven't made the time, I should say. So, and it's not something that terribly interests me. Like I would go to a restaurant to try it, but I wouldn't make it my own. I wouldn't try it on my own. So there's that. And I knew somebody was going to bring up, wow, I'm really behind. Shocker. St. Elmo's Steakhouse in Indianapolis about its cocktail sauce. I've never had it, so I can't speak to it, but I do know that this is it's painful in the best way possible, the stuff I make. It's a little bit sweet. It's a lot of bit spicy. It's got some tang to it, and because of the horseradish heat, it punches you in the face really, really hard, really quick, and then it goes away. It doesn't hang out and linger. And that's one of the things I like about it. Like Matt's not terribly super keen on spicy foods, but he loves this stuff. So there's that, right? So yeah. Yep, exactly, Randall. Oh, Matthias, that's an easy answer. He says, so Edward, what's the one game you're most looking forward to in 2018 right now and why? It's the same game I was most looking forward to in 2017, a little bit in 2016, and hopefully in 2018. That's Mr. President by GMT Games. I love the idea of being able to put yourself in the shoes of an American president and going from there and seeing how you can do. And it being a heavy political game, even though it's a solo game, Amanda and I are really excited about it to have kind of a two-headed president type thing and be able to talk our way through that. So that's something that super, super stoked for. Obviously there's a bunch of games, but that is probably my number one. The City of the Big Shoulder or City of the Big Shoulders is one that I'm super excited for, provided that Kickstarter goes off. There's a bunch of stuff, and I'm probably going to forget more than I can remember off the top of my head. So yeah, but yeah, there you go. All right. Peter Luger's in Brooklyn. All right, Philip. Well, next time we're in New York City, we'll stop by. How's that? And hello, Fabio. Dave, what are your off-the-cuff current feelings about gaming in 2017? You're going to have to quantify that a little bit or qualify that a little. That could be taken a million different ways, so help me out a little on that, Dave, and I'll come back to it, all right? With the advent of gaming coming to an end, Andrew asks, do you think it'll be an annual thing? Maybe. And the reason I'm saying maybe is, honestly, and this isn't anything more than face value and honesty, the only way that Amanda and I would consider doing this again as an annual thing is if Amanda's full-time with me. It was a tremendous amount of work. Even though I'm on all the streams and I have to do all the behind the scenes stuff, et cetera, it's my job now, right? I'm full time doing this. Amanda is not. She has her day job. And so she's really been burning it on both ends. So I am willing, and Amanda can tell me, she's, I know, watching. She can chime in here in the chat, but I am willing to commit to do this as an annual thing as soon as Amanda's full time. So if Amanda's on board with that, then yes. So there's your answer. All right. Have you tried Yorkshire pudding as a dessert with golden syrup? Franny asks. I hadn't, but then again, I guess it's kind of sopapilla-ish, kind of. I could see that little savory, little sweet. All right, I will try it this year. How's that, Franny? All right. Hi, Paul. Wait, what? The Advent's going to stop? Yeah, unfortunately, we are not machines. You enjoy it through Sunday, y'all. E says, great job on the advent of streaming. I can't even keep up with my advent of beer drinking. Strong work. Good deal, E. Nice. Very nice. What's up, Dan? How you doing? One of our tireless mods that have really been on the ball when it comes to all the spammers that have come through, especially in the last, week to 10 days or whatever. So awesome job to our mods. Big shout out to them. So let's see if I can do this without missing anybody. Obviously, there's Amanda when she's not on the stream and she's not shipping. So Amanda, we have Bev, we have Dan, we have Rob, we have Jared, Brad, I think that's all of them. You know what? Nope. I'm not going to guess. A moment. Because I feel like they deserve their shout outs. So hold on one second. So, Jared, Matthew, Amanda when she's not on the stream, Ash when he's not on the stream, but usually is too busy either with real life or on the stream, Bev, Dan, same with Matt, and Rob. So big shout out to all them. Invaluable during the stream. So thank you very much, you guys. Really appreciate all the help. Ashbourne says, the streams have been great. A great help for me trying to get the heavier games into my groups. That's awesome, dude. Mission accomplished then. That makes me happy to hear. And I was really surprised at the turnout for Kalis last night. We had over 100 folks watching live. Did not expect that. I truly did not, because Kalis is, in gaming terms, ancient, right? So that really surprised me, and it goes to show that people just like good games, which credit to y'all for that. That's amazing. That was fantastic. California, got it, Kurt. Cool. Fabio said, hey, Edward, I'm crazy waiting for Wildcatters, but it's still in pre-order. You know if it'll be released this year? Pretty sure it should be. Yeah, I haven't heard otherwise. Let's put it that way. So, yeah, somebody ping Clay and get him in here and ask him. We can ask him. Oh, and Kurt's a stay-at-home dad. Well, there you go, Kurt. Then you can be there for the live stream. That'll work. Is Dominant Species out of print? I think it is. I don't think really out of print is a good way to term that. That's kind of one of those, what do you call them? Like one of those games that's perpetually gets new printings. And I know it's on GMT's P500 list right now, and I'm pretty sure it's on the schedule for 2018 for a new version or new printing. I'm not sure if it's a new version, at least a new printing. Oh, there you go. So there you go. And Dave mentioned that. Ulrich, knowing heavy cardboard, it soon will be. Just doing our part, all right? Sweater Mike just asked if I want to go snowboarding tomorrow before Age of Steam. Maybe. We'll see. So if Age of Steam doesn't happen tomorrow, you know why. Dustin, double X there, Dustin, he says, hey, Edward, do you have a 2018 travel schedule finalized? Yeah, sort of. I don't know if I want to call it final, but I'll give you a preliminary. How's that? Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make it down to the Arizona Game Fair this year, which is happening next month, so can't do that. So our first convention is one that we've promised for 2 years because Nuno and Paulo made the comment at Essen 2 years ago, hey, I asked them, when are you coming to HeavyCon? And they said, when are you coming to Lyricon? And I said, so if I come to Lyricon, you'll come to HeavyCon? They said, yep. I said, okay, I'll see you in 2018. And they're like, haha, yeah, sure. And no, really, we'll see you March 1st, fellas. So we're going to Lyricon. Amanda and I both are. That's the end of February, beginning of March. Unfortunately, Paulo has already told me he can't make it this year, but he will try and make it for 2019. He's an honorable guy, so I'm counting on that as far as HeavyCon goes. So we have Lyricon there. I'm scheduled to go to Gamma, which is mid-March in Reno. Then we don't have anything between that and HeavyCon, which is Memorial Day weekend, which is end of May. But beginning with HeavyCon becomes the most insane 5-6 week stretch I've ever had in the hobby. So we have HeavyCon and all the prep work that goes into that. A day and a half later, leave for the UK Games Expo. Straight from the UK Games Expo, we traveled to Sweden for a herd around the world to meet up with Space Monkey and his group and other folks there in Sweden. We're going to probably stay there for a handful of days up to a week. And then from there, probably heading straight to Columbus for Origins, and then be at Origins, and then come home. Again, I understand that most people are like, oh, that sounds amazing. And it is. Just like what that Uber driver told me. Dude, you have fans in Sweden. So I get that. I really, really get that. But that's kind of a lot of travel, all back to back to back to back to back, coming off the heels of having to prep our own convention. So there's that. WBC after that. And then there's Gen Con. Then there's Essen. Then there's BGG Con. And then PAX. That's the preliminary schedule. So we'll see how it all plays out. Who knows? But that's insanity. Good thing we have TSA pre. Andrew asks, when do you expect the heavy cardboard hoodies to be up? My goal is to have those up the week we go dark, so the week after Christmas. So we'll go from there. All right, Andrew? Michael said the patron only t-shirt, is that something you need to buy, or is it given at certain levels? Completely forgot. Usually the case is you have to buy it. There's only a couple of levels, I believe, that get that. So yeah, you'll have to just go to patreon.com/heavycardboard to check it out, or go to pledgehc.com, then click the Patreon link through that. All right, cool. Yeah, Ian O'Toole, I'm really, really, really excited about his design on what he did for us. And I'm super stoked for it. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. There's a lot of little subtle things in it that you need a minute to take a look at to see everything, but really happy about the work he did with it. Hi, Rob. All right. What about Space Corps? Or Space Corp from GMT. Sure, I'm looking forward to it, but he didn't ask what are some of the games you're looking forward to. He said, what is the game you're most looking for? So, Mr. President, there you go. Any word on City of the Big Shoulders progress, Philip asks? Yes, sort of. I want to be delicate here and be respectful. I know that there are some personal things going on in regards to what the designer's having to deal with. So obviously real life kind of trumps games when it comes to that stuff. So I haven't heard any update in the last month, 6 weeks or so. But just be patient is all I ask. And I think it'll be worth your wait. So there you go. Okay. All right, so Dave clarified here. He says, what I was thinking of when I asked about gaming in 2017 was either games released in 2017 or your thoughts on games new to you in 2017. Either way you want to answer. 2017 was one of the most stressful years of my life with everything going on. I mean, I quit my job. I guess got a new job thanks to our patrons. But overall, there weren't a ton of games this year. And I don't know if that's the year, like the actual games that came out this year, or is it a me thing? So I haven't chewed that over enough yet, and I haven't kind of taken a big picture look at the year yet, because yes, I realize even though the year is coming to an end and you're going to see a plethora, Jefe, of end of year best games of the year list and all that. We're not going to do that. We don't do that. Why? Because if you go down to our basement, you'll see there are a ton of games that we have not played yet that came out in 2017. So how could we possibly talk about the best games in 2017 when a bunch of them might be unplayed still? Now, this is obviously going to be from the heavy gamer's perspective, etc., and that's what the Golden Elephant Award is for, and that's why we don't announce it until HeavyCon in May of the next year, because we need the time to be able to play everything. Now, the finalists will come out around late March, early April timeframe, but still, that buys us another 3.5 months to get all these games played. Now, are we going to play every game? No, but you get the idea. But that kind of, it's really hard to kind of take a general look at the year at this point, even though it's the end of the year, because there's still too many games that could possibly fit within that, oh wow, could this be the best game of the year? Or one of, if we haven't played them. So I hesitate to answer that, but I will say early impressions is, it was a 3 or a 4 on a 1 to 6 scale. Early impression. So hopefully that answers it, and that's the best you're going to get out of me until we've played more of them. I mean, we've played a ton of them, don't get me wrong. Obviously, the Advent obviously has helped with that, as is me doing this full time. But at the same time, there's still only so many hours in the day, and Amanda and Matt and the rest of our group still works during the day. So there's only so much time to game, right? Morning View says, will you guys be trying Njord, the Uwe Rosenberg game? Apparently it's tighter, more Agricola-like. I'll be honest, we don't have a copy. If they send us a copy, we will certainly give it a try. But it's not one that Uwe has earned my skepticism in whether or not they're going to be games that I enjoy or that Amanda enjoys. And so I'm not going to go out of my way to purchase out of my own pocket one of his games at this point. But if they want to send us a review copy, we certainly will check it out. But yeah, as it is right now, if somebody in the group brings it by and they have a copy, they're like, oh yeah, I want to try it. I want to play this. Okay, cool. We'll play it. But I'm not going to go out of my way to do it. If we get a copy, then sure, we will. Kyle asks, got any big plans for the show in 2018 that you can tease? Well, provided everything plays out right, we're going to do more war games. And by what I mean by that is we think, figured out a way to live stream the blocks, because if it's for block war games, that's something that we really want to do, but it's going to require more hardware, more cameras, and a different setup kind of. And so that's something we definitely want to do. We're going to try and come up with a couple of strategy videos for certain games, and for the podcast, I think we're going to try, and I guess this also doubles for the live streams as well, but I want to do more conversations with Heavy Cardboard, some more interviews, and there's one more thing that I wanted to bring up, and now total brain cramp. Finish the studio, the stuff that's on that side. That I've talked about with our patrons before, but I don't want to put out there publicly until it's done. But some more studio type work, which as Amanda gets closer and closer to doing it full time, we'll be able to have more time to do things, more editing type stuff. for in-studio things. So looking forward to that. But for the podcast, we really want to be able to do a ton more different types of content. Not a ton more, but a handful of different things. And I mean, even though the Advent is going to be ending, it's going to be pretty freeing, not having to stream every single day. So I think it's going to be easier for us to be able to get into a really good routine after the Advent for both the podcast and the YouTube channel. So so some strategy stuff, more interviews, conversations with Heavy Cardboard. Obviously, with all the conventions there's going to be a lot of daily diaries that are coming out. And also we're going to get back to more mechanic-based and more designer-based episodes. So not just review episodes, but like the ones we did for Uwe Rosenberg or the one that we did about worker placement, stuff like that. That's some stuff that we want to revisit and get back into that people have been asking for. So yeah. So here's what I would suggest to all y'all watching is if there are ideas out there that you think are feasible and that you would like to hear either on the podcast or on over on the YouTube channel here, email us. That's the best way. Emails definitely usually don't get missed. So that's the best way to send us suggestions. So or through the form on the website. That would be another excellent way because that sends us an email. So that'll work. So hopefully that answers your question, Kyle. All right, there we go. To circle back, Amanda says, yes, if I'm full-time Heavy Cardboard, I would be willing to do the Advent again. Not until then. Runer asks, do you think we give Amanda enough love, Edward? Does she know how much we appreciate all her behind the scenes and her on camera, on mic work? Here's your chance. If you don't feel like you are, then do so. Now, I will say this, and Amanda can correct me, but I know she would agree with this, that she understands that for not to tiptoe and put and tiptoe around the verbiage here. I'm the face of the show because I'm the one that's full-time. I'm the one that's hosting everything, and I'm the main driving force behind this. She understands that, and she wants that. She does not. She's still very much an introvert, y'all. And she's able to do the show because when we're recording an episode, we're either here or here, and it's just the two of us. And she's not thinking about the 12,000 people that are listening to it or whatever. And when we're live streaming, sure, she sees the chat, but that's different, right? It's just the 4 or 5 or 3 or 2 of us that are here at the table. So she doesn't mind that at all. But it never hurts to hear people say how much they appreciate your work. So here's your chance, Runar. But yes, I am fairly certain that she knows how much you guys appreciate her. But like I said, it always is nice to hear, right? When you're at work, your boss comes up and says, hey, really good job on X project, or hey, you've been really killing it. Feels good, right? Hell, every email we get that says, hey, you guys really enjoying the Advent streams or X, Y, or Z that we're doing, loving what you're creating, or whenever we get a new patron, that's basically doing the exact same thing, right? And so, yeah, that feels amazing. And I'm pretty sure that both of us know, but it's always awesome to hear. So thank you. All right. Yes, thank you to all the mods for any. Agreed. Andrew, have we received the 2017 Albin Age of Steam maps? We have not. He's also sending us a surprise for giveaways as well, but we haven't. He told us to expect it probably early in the new year for us. So. All right, Kim asks, can you recommend some good gateway games to some of the heavier games like Caverna and the Colonists? Point Puerto Rico is still an awesome gateway. Le Havre is still an awesome gateway. And I'm really terrible about on-the-spot stuff like this, Kim. So I think Amanda and I, the week we come back from being dark for the week, so the first week of the new year. Oh, and to go back to what Kyle asked, more top sixes as well, more top lists. And we also have to do a revised top 50, don't we? Anyway, we're actually going to be covering that exact topic, kind of a top 6 gateway into heavier games. That's going to be the first top 6 that we do for the new year, Kim. So I would ask to postpone that till then, but yeah, that's coming. Okay, cool. Evergreen, that's the term I couldn't think of. Good call, Gregory. And I lost my spot again. Yes, Franny, the plan is to come to the UK Games Expo. As it is right now, I'll probably be going solo, unfortunately. All depends on how much time off Amanda can get, etc., etc. But the priorities for Amanda's time off for conventions, HeavyCon, number 1, Essen, number 2, and then go from there. So we'll see how it goes, all right? Dave, will you have any time to play games between traveling and 2018? Oh, yeah. This is going to be the most game playing filled year of our lives, 2018, even with all the convention traveling. Absolutely. Cannot wait. Super excited. And this is coming. Here we are, day 19 of the Advent. I've been live streaming now, what is that, 19 plus 3, 22 live streams in the last 19 days, and I'm still chomping at the bit. Cannot wait to play more games. So yeah, going to be a really good time. And you guys are going to benefit from that as well. No, Philip, I can answer that now. He says, do you think 2018 will be the first HeavyCon East Coast? In my city, of course. We have toyed with the idea because we have, last I looked, I think 182 people on the wait list for HeavyCon. I'm not wanting to blow HeavyCon up. And one of the biggest appeals that everyone has given us feedback on is they want the same tight, close-knit group feel that HeavyCon has been. Now, it's not going to be like it was at HeavyCon 1 with 18 people, but that said, we have toyed around with the idea of hosting a second HeavyCon. Starting maybe in 2019. That would be the earliest. It would be 2019 or 2020. We're also debating whether or not to do one in Europe or to do it on the East Coast. Their petitioning is not going to help, so we can nip that in the bud right now. It's going to be, we want to make sure that we do not split up the folks that are already coming to HeavyCon. And by the way, HeavyCon is going to be about 135 paid attendees, give or take a couple. This year, and invites will be going out later on this week, which is one of the things I'm going to be doing once I'm done with this. Excuse me. That's a loaded question, Michael. Who has been your favorite designer to talk with? I know you've liked them all. Just wondering who you thought was the best. I like Jordan the best, I think. Michael Keller was interesting too. I mean, how do you pick a favorite out of that? I think the most surprising and one of the ones that really kind of caught me off guard was Ian O'Toole's interview. Even though he's not a designer, he's a graphic designer, but just the way he thinks about his graphic design in that it's completely different than I ever would have imagined. When he explained it, it makes total sense, and it's obvious when he explains it. Never would have thought of it. So I found that really, really eye-opening. And also, even though it's the latest, Jordan Draper, the way he thinks about designing games and the way he goes about everything is really surprising to me and completely different than other designers. So I don't know that I have a favorite because I've learned a lot of different things from each of them. So I know it's a cop-out, but yeah, that's hard. That's really a hard question there that I'm not sure. I love Michael Keller's candidness about, hey, I'm still a new designer and I need a strong developer. That's amazing. And if you guys are curious, we're going to have the Michael Keller interview up on the podcast. I believe the plan is next week. So even though we're dark, some of the recorded stuff is going to go up. So yeah, they've been awesome. And like I said, I think it's some of my favorite stuff that I do for the show, even though it's definitely not the most popular stuff that I do or that we do. I think it's some of my favorites. So there's going to be more of it, not less of it, even though it's not the most popular content, because I find it some of the most compelling and interesting content. So I derive enjoyment out of that. And that's one of the perks of this job, that, hey, even if it's not the most popular, enough people enjoy it and I enjoy it, so I'm going to do more of it. So yeah. Milo says, hey, Edward and Amanda. It's implied, I'm sure. Thanks for doing the Advent. Is there still a lot of your Essen haul that you plan on streaming in the new year? Absolutely, Milo. That is the case. There were only 24 days in the Advent, so that's 20. I mean, so yeah, and we brought back oodles more games. And yes, I think that's, so oodles is just below a crap ton, including a metric crap ton, but just above a lot. So oodles is somewhere in there, and we brought back oodles of games from Essen. So yes, there are plenty more that we're going to be live streaming as well as reviewing in the new year, Milo. Joshua says, I'm late to find out, but just learned about the controversy about heavy cardboard on Reddit, on the subreddit board games. Do you think there's any possibility of a resolution? I hate that we can't post content from heavy cardboard. Yeah. So for those that don't know, I was banned from Reddit board games, and by I mean the heavy cardboard account, and the crime that I was guilty of, and I fully admit being guilty of, is in our Slack channel. I was like, hey guys, can you guys post the link to the live stream tonight or something like that, and maybe go upvote it. I did that repeatedly. That's what I did wrong. So I got banned, and the vitriol that came out of that was surprising. I'll be honest. There are some really hostile people about what it is that I did. I took full ownership of it. I said, look, yep, I broke the rules. The mods made their decision. That's their decision. Okay. I said I support it, but what I meant essentially was, it's their decision. I'm not going to fight it. It's pointless, and that's that. And so there are, you're not allowed to link to our content on Reddit board games. Some mods have even taken, even though they've said that you're allowed to talk about it, some mods disagree that you can even mention us or talk about it. But yeah, that's what I did. I in our Slack channel, I said, hey folks, spread the word, including Reddit. You guys can post it there, and take turns posting it so you don't get it blocked. Even though I was one of the most active media media people on Reddit board games, interacting, even not even posting our own stuff. But yeah, that's what happened. So I asked people to post our stuff and upvote it. And the pushback it was strong enough to where it was the one day I seriously reconsidered whether or not I want to do this. Because you would think that I was raping babies. It was such a horrible, the outcry, the vitriol of it. Now, did I break the rules? Yep. Guilty. So, should I have? Nope. Shouldn't have, but I didn't really realize how seriously people took it and the pushback that we got from it. But you know what? That's their choice, and we'll live with it. It's my mistake, and I'm yeah, so there you go. So we move on. Life moves on. They move on. We move on. Everyone drives home in a Cadillac. Let's see. Hey, Cormac, kind of answered that earlier. What game that you're not streaming are you most itching to get to the table? And that would be Democracy Under Siege. Yeah, super excited about that. So looking forward to it. Philip says the best Patreon or patron drive of 2017 is Heavy Cardboard. Thanks, Philip. Hey, Marlon. So now the initial war game is done. Well, technically, Maria, that was done way long ago. So easy now. But meaning Combat Commander. What's next? Don't know. Right now, we're taking it kind of through the Advent. We do not have any specifics planned for January yet. I lied. We have 2 specifics planned for January. We have two sponsored playthroughs that we have coming early in January. We have Feudum and we have Gentis for the Tasty Minstrel Kickstarter. Those are the only 2 that are for sure happening. Okay, a third. I forgot. 1822. So those are the 3 that are already kind of pseudo-scheduled. Everything else is, you know what, we just want to make it through the Advent. So I don't want to promise something. I can promise you that it's not going to be a block war game. And this kind of goes back to what I said, we realize that we need to do it right. We need more hardware, and that's the next patron or the next milestone for the pledge HC for our patron milestone. Stretch goal. Whatever you want to call it, whatever. So we're going to wait on those. So it's not going to be a war game or a block war game. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. We're not 100% sure. All right. Milo says, would love to see another playthrough of Feast for Odin now that you have the great setup. Well, thank you on the compliment, first off, Milo. Secondly, everything that we live stream the first couple of months, and so I don't know if you guys realize this because I didn't realize it. So we started live streaming February 13th of this year. That was the first live stream we did downstairs with me underneath the tripod in the basement with a horrible setup and the whole 9 yards. 2 months later, we were up here. We built the studio 2 months later. I was shocked at how quick we did that. I didn't realize that. Everything that we did downstairs, with one exception, we're not doing Monopoly again. I will retire the Heavy Cardboard all-time champion at Monopoly. However, everything that we live streamed downstairs that we haven't already live streamed up here, our intent is to do a new live stream and a new teach of it up here with the new setup. So to answer your question, Milo, yes, we will do a Feast for Odin now that we're upstairs. And because we want to be able to highlight these games now that we have a considerably better setup here in the studio. So yeah, we're definitely going to be doing that. Okay. Randall, and this is a question that I don't get as much as that I thought I would. He says, has turning your hobby into your profession diminished your enthusiasm for playing games? Has gaming become tedious in any way? So 2 different questions. I'll answer the first one first. Has turning my hobby into my profession diminished my enthusiasm for playing games? I'll answer that by asking you a question. Does it seem like it? Because ultimately, you guys are the true judges of that. But from my standpoint, hell no, it has not. I'm as excited to play games as I was 4 or 5 years ago when we got into the hobby. Absolutely not. It is not. It has made me, it has refined my taste playing more and more games, plus, you know, the churn and burn as you do for reviewing. But even then, we're still playing games enough to get them reviewed, meaning 4+ times, which is our standard for before we review a game. So no, not at all. If anything, I want to play games more because we have more games to get through and we have access to more games. So if anything, dare I say, it's increased my enthusiasm for playing games. And I know a lot of people warned me and said, oh, turning it into a job, because the same thing kind of happened when it came to poker. When I used to play poker for a living, back when I was a rec player compared to playing it for a living, that did happen. It was work at that point. And don't get me wrong, this is very much work. The second question is a little bit trickier. He says, has gaming become tedious in any way? The gaming itself has not at all, even a tiny bit, become tedious. So the answer to your question is no. However, it's not tedious, and the hardest part of this job, and the only part that, I don't know if I can say the only part, no, because answering emails after emails after emails, that can be a bit tedious. So the behind the scenes stuff can get tedious. Absolutely, 100% yes. Prepping for the podcast, because we do such thorough and extensive prep, that is legitimate work. That I don't terribly enjoy, but I enjoy the final product, and I know how many people enjoy the podcast. So that's not going away. That's not going to be diminished. I'm not mailing it in on the podcast or anything like that. But that is probably this behind the scenes stuff that you guys don't see is probably the hard part of this job. What we're doing right here, I love this. Playing games off and on camera, I love that. The behind the scenes stuff, not so much. The meeting folks at cons and seeing the new games and the hunting of the new games, meaning finding out about them and all that I love. It's just some of the behind the scenes stuff that can get a bit tedious and definitely feels like work. But as far as the actual turning the hobby into my profession, has it diminished my enthusiasm or become tedious? 100% no. And I hope that comes through on y'all's end. I hope. I mean, more people are watching and listening and everything, so I would tend to believe that's not the case. So that's good that this is coming through. The enthusiasm is still coming through. So as long as that happens, then yeah, cool. Philip says, how about chats with patrons? I talk good. We could maybe hook some of that up in 2018, Philip. We might have some, well, we're definitely going to have more third chairs on the show for reviews and stuff like that. Especially, that was the biggest, not criticism, but the biggest piece of feedback that we got when we did our big survey, which we're going to be doing another one after the holidays for folks. And that was, Amanda and I tend to agree too much, and they would like more conflict, but not like fake conflict like you get on ESPN and stuff like that. So there are, like, one of the things we were going to do is we were going to sit down with Jordan when he was here and talk about Lagerstätten, because he enjoys it a lot more than we did. Not that we dislike it, but if you guys watched our live stream, and you'll hear about it this week, tomorrow, in fact, on the Thursday, sorry, on the review. But we want more contrasting opinions on the show, and so we're going to have more third chairs. So our goal is to try and do that once every 3-4 reviews. So we'll see how that goes, as long as people are available. So we'll see how it goes. Gregory asks, which YouTube channels do you follow for board games? Oh, I suppose I could look. Give me a minute. Let me go look. So in no particular order. So Shut Up and Sit Down, no pun included, John Gets Games, Slicker Drips. Those are the ones off the top of my head. There's more that I can't think of. I don't want to look through them. For board games, I mean, Dice Tower, obviously, Rahdo. Now, how many of them do I actually watch? when I get time. It's more or less, it's pick and choose here and there. I really appreciate the humor, and no pun included, and Shut Up and Sit Down. Plus, I really, really like Quinn's. I think he's a really good dude. Paul Grogan's Gaming Rules is another. Inside the Box I enjoy. Tantrum House. And there are probably others that I'm thinking of or that I can't think of, so I apologize. But I'll be honest, I don't sit and watch a ton of them. I don't have time. And I guarantee you, if you were to stop and ask that of any of them, they would probably say the same. Oh, yeah, we subscribe to these guys or these gals or whatever. And, Tiffany Ralph's, the One Tar also. But yeah, probably don't watch a ton of each other's stuff, but we subscribe to them. There's just only so many hours in a day. So. Jeff Awa, I think we'll go with Jeff Awa. Yeah, I think so. He says, Edward, haven't followed you that long, so don't know if you like predictions. But have you got any predictions in the industry, the hobby, designs, etc. in 2018? And Amanda and Edward, thanks for your content. Appreciate you and glad you found us. I'm curious. Here's a question for you guys, because especially with the banning kerfuffle, fill in the right word, with Reddit board games. I'm really curious, where did you guys hear about the show? And I'm not talking just to Jeff Awa, but just in general. I'm always curious. And do you guys find us through the YouTube channel or through the podcast, and how did you hear about us? I'm always curious about that. I'm the world's biggest 5-year-old. I always want to know the why. That's why I enjoy the conversations from Heavy Cardboard so much, because I get to ask the questions of why of things. So predictions. I definitely think that. So I will keep this kind of Heavy Cardboard centric. And what I mean by that is, the heavier side of the hobby, because I can't really speak to the rest of it because I don't have a lot of experience with the lighter side and the stuff that a lot of other content and media people cover, like the Dice Tower. They cover a lot of lighter stuff, and which I'm super grateful that they do. And I do think that the hobby continues to grow in general, which is amazingly good news. Anybody that says that's bad, boo on you, because A, you're wrong, and B, why would that ever be a bad thing? Because from a selfish standpoint, 2 reasons why that's amazing. 1, more gamers. More gamers, well, usually people come in through either casual or, family-friendly or fill in the right word here type games, which play what you dig, right? If that's where you end up, that's your happy spot. You want to stay with lighter games, party games, whatever, then go for it. That's awesome. Play what you dig, enjoy it. However, some of those people are going to want to see what else is out there, and that's where they find our show. And that's awesome from us. But that also means there are more heavy gamers out there. More heavy gamers helps in 2 other ways. So not only do they find the show, but A, more people to game with. The games that we enjoy playing win. And number 2, the more heavy gamers there are, the more that designers and publishers will see that, oh wow, there's a bigger market for that. Let's make more of those heavy games. So that would be my prediction, that as the hobby continues to grow, that the heavier, more involved, deeper games are going to start. There are going to be more of them. And I'm not saying necessarily more complex games, although there will be obviously more of those just by default as well. But heavier games in general, the decision matrix getting deeper, that's only going to be a good thing, both, again, for the show as well as from a personal standpoint, because that means there's more games for us to enjoy and more people to enjoy them with. So that's my big prediction, which is not really a huge limb that I'm going out on, is the heavier game segment is going to continue to grow, and more people are going to realize, oh, hey, more people are enjoying those games. We should do that. And I think the big eye-opening moment was the success of Food Chain Magnate, and seeing the massive numbers that those have been able to print, and how smaller, more niche publishers, stuff like, well, Splatter, which is a lot less niche now, or like Hollenspiel, Capstone, which is a lot less niche now as well, are going to become, and Spielworks, stuff like that, they're going to get bigger and bigger print runs. I mean, look at GMT reprinting 1846, and now they have 2 more 18XX games that they're going to be putting on their P500. It's only going to continue to grow, and I think that is an amazingly excellent, healthy, good. There's just no downside. And even if only a small portion of those people, new players that come into the hobby, want to advance past the point where whatever their entry-level game was. I mean, for some people, entry-level could be Container. Awesome. But that's probably more the exception to the rule. But getting, even if only a small portion of those people come in, there's more people coming in, so that small sliver is actually the same percentage, but it's actually a larger quantity of people, and that's a win-win all the way around. So yeah, my enthusiasm's probably coming through about that, because I genuinely believe that it's only going to get better for us folks that like the deeper end of the pool. So yay, all the way around. And it's just, I enjoy the hobby as a whole. I don't care what kind of games you play. If you enjoy, just to pull random games out like Mansions of Madness and stuff like that, and that's all you enjoy, then that's what you should play. That's awesome. Good for you. I'm happy for you. Enjoy those games. Just because I don't enjoy them doesn't mean I'm going to poo-poo all over what you enjoy. It doesn't make sense. So that said, though, I'm just excited that the pool is getting bigger and the deep end of the pool is getting bigger. That's awesome, and it's going to continue. So anyway, sorry. All right. Back to my tea here. Very kind of you people to give shout outs to Amanda like that. Thank you, Runar and company. All right, Dave, take care. I'm sure you already left like an hour ago, but take care. Scott asks, since you're doing a lot of board gaming related travel, where would you like to go for non-board game related travel? I've always wanted to see Angkor Wat. I think that would be amazing to see in person. I would love to see the Taj Mahal. I want to go back. The big thing for me, I think, is I want to go back to see a lot of the Roman ruins. I would like to visit where they think battles took place from ancient Rome. I would like to just go back to, I would like to explore just a lot of the history in Europe. I would love to take a food vacation and just go eating in different areas. And one of the things that really surprised me on our trip to the Netherlands and for Essen was Leiden, where we stayed with Joris. Leiden was never a consideration for us to go explore and visit. We were going to go to one of the 3 big cities around there, right? The Hague, or Amsterdam, or Rotterdam. And when we got there, we were like, you know what? There's enough history right here. We don't need to go somewhere else. So I think that's the amazing thing that Europeans have over anywhere else just about, is the amount of history in all these little towns all over Europe. I would like to just explore. And as far as like silly little bucket list places I want to go see, and one of you guys in Germany can tell me, get me the exact place. I like trains. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always liked train layouts. So I've always wanted to build my own train layouts, and they have the biggest train layout in the world. Something like 70 million euros it costs to build this thing. and it's somewhere a couple hours outside of Essen. That is on my bucket list to go and spend a day exploring and checking out. They have a working airport in this train layout. They have something like 20 different computer systems hooked up to this thing. Unbelievably cool. I want to see that at some point. So there. All right. Okay. No, actually, not being that person at all, Jason. He says not to be that person, but has the Patreon incident changed your level of trust in the platform? Is there a backup plan for if Patreon breaks something entirely? So for those that don't know, this is what happened. Back on December 8th, I think it was, Patreon announced to the creators, but not to the public, hey, we're going to change the way we work fees. And how this normally works, and I'll try and keep this succinct. Let's say you're a $5 patron, okay? So you give us $5 every month to support what we do and what we're creating. Awesome. Thank you. However, of that $5, 5% of it Patreon takes off the top. That's their fee. Okay. But in addition to that, we would pay anywhere between 5.1 to 5.8% in transaction fees. So whenever you deposit your money, we would pay the fees. And whenever we withdraw the money, we would pay the fees. So basically what it came out to is we would actually get, of that $5, about 89 point some odd % of the money. So Patreon thought, and they thought very wrongly, oh, hey, you know what? We're going to make it to where we're just going to take the 5% off and we're going to charge the patrons the fees. There was a huge backlash and uproar about it because basically what that meant was instead of you being a $5 patron, you're now a $5.50 patron, which doesn't sound like a lot. It's 50 cents. But for all those $1 and $2 patrons, the fees just went up something like you're having to pay an extra 40% on top of that. And that's just insanity. And they didn't ask us. Nothing. They just said, hey, we're going to do this starting December 18th, and it will take effect January 1st. There was a huge uproar about that. And Patreon owned it. So good on them for that. When you make a mistake, own it and move on. Kind of like what happened with Reddit and us. Own it and move on. So what Patreon said, Jack, who's the owner of Patreon, he sent out a message to everybody saying, you know what? Look, we screwed up. We did not include you guys in this. We made a really bad decision, and we're sorry. We're not going to do that. We're going to figure out a different way, and we're going to include you in that process. Awesome. So, step one, communicate, which is what we tried to do. So on December 8th, we also communicated this to all our patrons. Hey, this is what's going on. And that's why we have our annual option through pledgehc.com. However, they said, hey, we're not going to do that. So awesome. Unfortunately, a lot of creators lost a lot of patrons because of this, including us. We didn't lose a lot, but we lost some, which was unfortunate. And there's nothing we can do about that. But did I lose faith in Patreon? I did not. The reason is the fact that they owned it, they screwed up. And you know what? I believe that everybody deserves a second chance if you take ownership of it. So they took ownership of it. They listened to the feedback and they said, you know what? This was a terrible idea. And the way we did this and the lack of communication, boo on us. This will not happen again. So in the future, when we do decide that changes need to be made, we will include you in this and it will be a two-way street. Not much more you can ask for, in my opinion. So kudos on Patreon for that. So we're back to how it was. So that's good. Do we have a backup plan? We don't yet. However, Amanda and I have a meeting with some of our, what we call our small council. It's the mods that I mentioned earlier. People behind the scenes, they are patrons, but they're also some very trusted friends of ours that we're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a backup plan in place. We're going to start putting that together in case. It's always good to be prepared. And honestly, that's why we were so relieved that we had, during the patron drive, made the annual patronage a thing and made that available to folks. We currently have 49 annual patrons, which they're the exact same thing as the regular patrons that are on Patreon. The difference is Patreon, you pay monthly to support us, and the annual, you pay one lump sum. So if you want to be a $5 patron on the annual, you pay $60, and you get all the messages, you get all the perks, you get all the everything for being our patron. Because a patron's a patron, regardless of the platform you choose to use. So, long story long, as is I am wont to do. I talk for a living now, so that's kind of my MO. It's pretty funny. I did a survey. I took part in a discussion on Skype with some of the folks on Patreon, or behind Patreon, for some of their things that they're going to be rolling out, completely unrelated to the change they were making. And they actually mentioned that. They're like, yeah, we're used to talking with creators who talk for a living, so we know that we have to nip you guys in the bud. Thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, so did I lose faith in Patreon? I did not, because they did everything that you're supposed to do, right? When you screw up, it now gives them an opportunity to make good on that. They stopped what they were going to do, which was what caused all the uproar. And they said they're going to communicate better, and they're going to include us creators in that process going forward. Okay, that's all you can ask for. We're all human. We all make mistakes. So why shouldn't I give them a second chance? Now, that said, we will be implementing a backup plan in case they don't follow through on that, because it's my livelihood. I have a wife and a dog to support, and a house and a show and all that other stuff to support. So if they screw me once, shame on you. Screw me twice, shame on me. So trust but verify at this point. So that said, yes, I will give them a second chance, and I 100% will give them a second chance. But we're going to have a backup plan that we're going to start coming up with starting in January. So, that was a long story. But it's important. I feel like that, again, this is where that communication, I believe that, yes, there is such a thing as TMI, but when it comes to communication, especially when it comes to the show and just the way we run things different here at Heavy Cardboard. Amanda and I are a lot more open about things that a lot of other folks are not. And there's nothing wrong with the way they do that. This is the way we choose to do that. And we feel that communicating both with our patrons and just our listeners and viewers in general, it's the right thing to do. Having you be fully informed, there's just no downside there. So why wouldn't we do that? And it's part of building a community, which we're very proud of, that we are in the process of and what we have done. So, yeah, it's a no-brainer to explain this thoroughly to you guys. At least it's a no-brainer to me, at least. So, anyway. All right. So, long story long, Jason. Sorry if that was, more than you asked for, but again, you get me wound up on something I'm passionate about, and that affects my ability to do this and provide for my family. Yeah, I'm going to be passionate about that. If you had the chance to have the art on one of your games in your collection redone, which would it be and which artist would you ask to do it, Scott asks. Well, here, I'll answer for Amanda, Ian O'Toole, and Castles of Burgundy. For me, well, I'm trying to think like my favorite games, right? Through the Ages, Age of Steam. I got nothing. So, you know what? I think Amanda's answer actually is a really good one. Ian O'Toole is one of, if not my favorite artist at the moment. A graphic design, illustrator, fill in the right word. All jack of all of those. And master of all of those. But yeah, I think having Castles of Burgundy, since that's one of mine and Amanda's to play one of our favorite games. Having the art redone on that would be amazing. Having Ian do that. So yeah, we'll go with that. All right. Gustavo, hello. He says, "Hey Edward, thanks for the advent. Awesome content. Would you consider doing a stream of Gloomhaven? Maybe Isaac can design a more challenging and less cooperative scenario for heavy cardboard." I like where your head's at, Gustavo. Yes, actually, that is something that we plan on doing, is taking one of the early scenarios, actually, and live streaming that at some point. But on that note, Gustavo, my suggestion would be, if that's something that you would like to see, if that's something Isaac would be willing to do, email Isaac and tell him, hey, this would be cool. So maybe if we get enough folks asking him, maybe he'll design something like that. That'd be cool. That'd be awesome. And Carlos then follows up, would you consider streaming a co-op? Well, Gloomhaven comes to mind. Mr. President will happen once that's out and we have a good enough handle on the game. Or at least maybe like part 1, part 2, part 3 type thing, because that's going to be a massively long game. But yeah, would we consider streaming something like a Pandemic or something? Maybe, because we have talked about wanting to, on occasion, take a game that is outside of our wheelhouse, and co-ops very much are outside of our wheelhouse, with certain exceptions, and kind of coming at it from the heavy gamer's perspective and dissecting it as we do our normal reviews. So yeah, I think that's something that we would consider going forward, Carlos, on occasion. Not often, but on occasion, sure. All right, Kal-El asks, when you say sponsor playthroughs, do you mean Patreon sponsorship or company sponsorship? Is it possible to make a Patreon pool sponsorship of normal people using a Pledge HC channel? So sponsor playthroughs, publishers pay us to sponsor a playthrough. And we've covered this pretty in-depthly in our Ora et Labora episode, and also it's on our FAQ on our website, that we will never accept payment for a review. We don't believe in that. We don't feel like that is a thing that we want to do. So that's something that I feel safely I can say that we will never do that. Playthroughs, however, we do allow sponsors or publishers to sponsor, because the way we see it is they're informational. We're teaching the game and we're playing the game, and that's information. This is how you play the game, and here is us playing the game. And we feel like that is a clear delineation between opinion with the reviews and informational with the playthroughs and the teaching. So that's what I mean when I say sponsor playthroughs. As far as, is it possible to make a Patreon pool sponsorship of like getting 5 people together to sponsor at some of the higher levels? That's something we haven't considered, and it's the first time someone's ever brought that up, Kal-El. So I'll tell you what, if that's something you're interested in, email us and give us some details on what exactly you would mean, and we'll chew it over and we'll see what we can come up with for it. We want people to be able to become patrons, obviously, and make that as easy and painless a process as possible. So, I mean, obviously it benefits us. It helps support the show and helps continue to grow the show. So that's a win on our end. And on y'all's end, I mean, to become a part of the herd, a community and everything that goes in that, that's a win on y'all's end as well. So the epitome of a win-win. So we'll cover that. We'll cross that bridge. Just shoot us an email and we'll bounce some ideas off of one another and chew it over. Okay. And Milo, actually, we covered that about Christmas dinner. It's the plan tentatively is prime rib, which is what we normally do, and then the seafood bit or the lobster bisque and shrimp cocktail for Christmas Eve. But we're actually Dana and I, and actually the whole household, all 4 of us, are going to go over what are we going to have for Christmas dinner. So we're going to go over that tonight, actually. So I don't know all the details yet. Oh, cool. And I always hesitate on some of the European names, but Moin from Berlin, he said meeting you at Spiel was awesome. It's great for us as well, so thank you. Yeah, Spiel is amazing, and yeah, just unbelievable. And Rob, Rob says, want to give patrons at the $10 and up an update on the teaching notes, El Guapo. There's a plethora, El Guapo, of teaching notes coming. So Rob has taken it upon himself to do the professional formatting of all of my teaching notes that I do for all the live streams. And he's formatting them and they're gorgeous compared to how they are when I make them, which are not pretty, and Rob can attest to that. He is making them a standard format and really, really happy with the way those are turning out. Those are going to be released sometime next week for all of our patrons at the $10 and up level. So I am super stoked for folks to get these and get them in their hands. It's funny, when we were going over the different patron levels, when we were redoing them ahead of the patron drive, this was one of the suggestions from our folks in a small council, and I don't remember who. And I was like, do you even think anyone's even going to want that? Oh boy, yeah, a lot of people are interested in those, so that's awesome. That's really, really cool. I put a lot of work into all of these, so hopefully people enjoy them. So yeah, those are coming next week. I cannot wait. Super stoked for that. Welcome, Yoda. Or is it Yoda? Welcome. Ulakai says the enthusiasm does come through. Why else would you do the heavy cardboard advent? Fair point. Well, that, and it's such an insane idea that Amanda had that I couldn't say no, even though I did say no. Warm to the last drop. Yeah, we're gonna keep that in here for now on for the streams. That was awesome. Yes. All right, let's see. Shut up and sit down. Who got me into board gaming before I moved on the heavier fare? I have had zero interactions with Matt and Paul. However, Quinn's, he did us a lot of solids when we were a lot smaller, and he mentioned us in some of their shows and in some of their updates, which was a huge boost to us. And Quinn's and I have kind of become, we're not really friends because we don't interact that much, but good acquaintances, and I'm a really big fan of his, and I dig the cut of his jib. So I really dig. I'm a bit of a Quinn's fanboy. I just think he's a cool dude, and that also has kind of inspired me to. And I hope this comes across the right way, y'all. But now that the show is getting to be one of the bigger, it's getting a following behind it. Might be a good way to put it. I like trying to support and trying to promote smaller shows that are up and coming, because Quinn's did that for us. And so while Shut Up and Sit Down is massive compared to us, I kind of want to pay it forward and do that as well. So I've been trying to do that mostly on social media and stuff. So yeah, I like the ability to be able to pay it forward now that I have a platform in which to do that. Totally different scales here. Let me preface that. But it always struck me as, you ever go to a ball game or you go to a sporting event? It doesn't have to be baseball or whatever, but usually on baseball, you'll see some of the players out there signing autographs right before first pitch and everything, after they've stretched and warmed up and all that. And it always struck me that these superstars, which we're not, I'm not, okay, but these superstars have a chance to make such a huge impact on these people's lives by taking 2 seconds to sign. Don't get me wrong. It's an exhausting thing what they do. Yeah, I used to play amateur baseball. We'd play 2 games a week and I'd be exhausted. So I can imagine these guys playing, 15 straight days. They get tired. So I don't fault them if they don't sign autographs for kids and other folks and whatever. But it always occurred to me that if I ever had the talent to be able to do something like that, I would want to pay it forward. I would want to try and help make somebody's day like that. And in a very, very, very minor, very, very tiny way, we're able to do that, especially when it comes to meeting folks at cons. And it's such a cool thing to be able to do. And it's still so weird to me that people think of Amanda and I like that, because we're just some folks that talk. That's it. We're no different than y'all, except we have a platform, a microphone, and whatever. But on that note, Quinn's kind of did that for me and for the show. And so I like being able to pay it forward with other shows. So I don't know, tangent, sorry. Anyway, but yeah, so Quinn's has a special place in my heart for what he did for us way back in the day when, most everybody else ignores us and did, and well, most still do, but you get the idea, whatever. So yeah. There you go. And Morning View says, I actually heard about you on the Shut Up and Sit Down podcast. See, there you go. So there's a perfect example, right? Awesome. And Michael says, I hate reading rules and I like watching via video. So I Googled a playthrough for Feast for Odin, found you there, and here we are. And that was with the stuff downstairs. Whew. Thanks for sticking it out, Michael. Appreciate that. Wow, a lot of people are saying YouTube recommendations, which makes sense because obviously we're live on YouTube, right? So it would be much more YouTube centric than podcast centric, right? That makes sense. Oh, but as Bjorn says, if I remember correctly, it was back when Tony was still a host and I was Googling some board game podcasts. All right, cool. Facebook group, the board game group. All right. That's not a surprise, Philip, but awesome. Thank you. Okay, cool. So it's interesting to see how different people come through the show. Morton says maybe via the website that's banned on this channel. No, it's not banned on this channel. It's the other way around, but you get the idea. Through BGG. Okay. Rob, I didn't find you. I allowed you to find me. Thank you, Rob. All right. The playthrough of Arkwright, cool. Dustin says, because Dustin's part of our group, you guys have seen him on the live streams. I did a Google search for groups near me. I was intimidated a little, thought it'd be a bunch of old guys playing Avalon Hill games from the 80s. Hopefully we didn't disappoint you that that's not the case, Dustin. Any scoop or info on Brazil from Nuno and Paulo, and have we played a prototype? You guys literally know as much as we do. We have not heard anything. We're in the dark about that. I might shoot an email over to What's Your Game and ask them and see. Oh, cool. And Jaffawa says, thanks for answering my question. Heavy Cardboard was recommended on my YouTube viewing when I was seeking info on Gentis and Kalimala, and seeing you at Essen made it legit. Awesome. Yay. Marlon says, I'm a contest sucker and found Heavy Cardboard through the first Lisboa stream. Somewhere that clicked with me and I stayed. Well, wait, the first Lisboa stream, that was the first stream then. So thanks for being a part of this from the beginning, Marlon. And I must admit, it may not even be the games per se, but more the people behind Heavy Cardboard and that awesome passion and fun that they radiate. Mission accomplished then, Marlon. You humble us. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. And that's it, Morning View. Yes, it's Miniature Wonderland in Hamburg. That is on my bucket list to go see. Yes. James asks, and I know Rob referenced the FAQ, but why does Glory to Rome have a lot of hash marks underneath? How many are there? All right. So there are 68 of the small ones on the left-hand side there. Those are us having said glory to Rome to one another, i.e. go fornicate with yourself, but keeping it family-friendly-ish. Since the 50th live stream, which we just did number 102, number 103 of games not too long ago, so that was pretty cool. The two long lines in the middle, those two are to Comcast and Xfinity for dropping streams during two of our biggest streams. Yeah, that was awesome. Said no one ever. So yeah, those two big ones are for Xfinity, Comcast, and then the four on the right side are for actual viewers have told us from the Peanut Gallery, Glory to Rome, for forcing them to buy games, which I think is hysterical. So yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, Pharrell, Frack, and no. It's just telling you to go fornicate with yourself for messing me over. And by me, I mean whoever says it. Yeah, so. Liberté, definitely. Think of it this way. So like I said, we just hit, I think, live stream teaching, or at least playthrough, number 102 or so since February, which that's pretty cool. That's what? Just under one a day? Or one every 3 days, I mean? That's pretty good. Pretty good, I would say. We have 900, almost 1,000 games downstairs. We've just hit 100. That's a lot of games still to get through. So there are more games that we haven't gotten to than we have. So we have plenty of content for years to come. And that's if they didn't publish a new game ever again. So yeah, all you can eat for the foreseeable future, y'all. All right. And a lot of people have been pushing Spirit Island, Killer Priest. We may end up seeing that on a live stream or in a review at some point if we get a copy. Dutch Yoda, any suggestions for heavy solo games? Most of my game group is not into heavy games. There probably are some, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. So that might be a good top 6 list. And maybe I'll have Travis on for a guest. So he and I, because Amanda doesn't do solo games. So maybe he and I could team up for a top 6 sometime. Maria, we have not tried the New Colonist scenario yet, the one we got in Essen. That's in the pile of Essen games that we haven't gotten to yet. John says, Twilight Imperium 4 is calling for you, Edward. Heed the call. So funny story on that, all right? So a couple of months ago, I had met somebody, the head of Z-Man at Gen Con. And so he put me in contact with Asmodee, who Asmodee owns half of everything nowadays. And so I reached out to Asmodee and I asked for some review copies, including the one that's over my head right here. Gaia Project. I didn't hear anything since then. And one of our patrons actually in Slack yesterday asked me about this. He's like, hey, any idea if you're ever going to talk about or touch on Gaia Project? And I said, well, we reached out to Asmodee. They said we were, but I don't know. And then later in the day, Gaia Project showed up. And so I pinged him again. I said, hey, what about the new Civ and TI4? Those would be awesome for us to either review or live stream. So with that said, I like our chances of playing through them at some point, and as well as reviewing them. So there's that. So look for that, John. Maybe not right away, but likely coming. And Philip asks, that creates an interesting question going back to different patron level stuff and perks. Rado has a pledge level where a community member is allowed to choose one game during the year. Would you be willing to do that? Potentially. That's something that we would consider. Shoot us an email, Philip. Definitely. World in Flames. Probably not going to happen anytime soon, James. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think our table's big enough, and we got a pretty good sized table. It's 6 foot by 3.5 foot, and I don't think it's big enough. Anything in 18xx land that you're excited for in 2018? Honestly, the two big releases that came out this year that I have not gotten a chance to try yet. 18 Ireland, still haven't played, although, yeah, that was 2018. Yeah, I believe it came out in January. Still haven't gotten a chance to play that. And the other one, 18CZ, I haven't gotten a chance to play yet either. So those will definitely be on the docket before the Golden Elephant Award finalists are announced. They have to be. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to our live stream of 1822. That's going to be epic. As of right now, it's a 5-player 1822 game. Probably 8 to 10 hours with a couple of intermissions for food planned in there. So, yeah. And yes, James, Silverton, we have it downstairs. Eventually, quite possible. I appreciate that, Moyne. Thanks. And Jesse says he's playing Through the Ages tonight for the first time with 3 players, meaning 3 other players or 3 players total. If it's 3 players total, enjoy. If it's 3 other players in Jesse, Godspeed. You've been warned. We've warned you repeatedly. Through the Ages, not a 4-player game. And Christoph, that is an impossible answer or question for me to answer off the top of my head. What game is most like the Mechanism, Terraforming Mars with a different theme? What about Venus Next? So it's Venus, not Mars. See what I did? Anyway, moving on. Enjoy teaching Here I Stand, 6 players, and Alchemist. That's one maybe we will do one day. We'll see. Nemo's War would be a good solo one. I agree. I did not know that Miniature Wonderland has its own board game. That needs to happen. I don't care if it's not a good game. That needs to happen. I need to get a copy of that now. I did not know that, Franny. Thank you for that. Oh, dude, that is an awesome way to spend time with the family, Yoda. He says, as a Christmas gift, my family is going to play TI4 with me on Christmas Day. Best gift ever. That's really cool. Good on you. Have fun, guys. Oh, wait. Vassal reviewed Pixie Queen? Oh, I'm going to have to go take a look at that. He said, Jesse says a different take than what we had. Huh. Interesting. We haven't reviewed it yet, but that's coming. So cool. Jason managed to play 18 Ireland. Definitely the definition of life sucks and then you get dumped on. Sign me up. Okay, good. Jesse says it's only 3 people for Through the Ages. Phew. All right. Cool. Hidden movement games, Fury of Dracula, Spectre Ops. Not really something that would be one of the, on occasion, outside of our wheelhouse from the heavy gamer's perspective type games that we would do. That's not normally our cup of tea. Any chance to play the new Splatter prototype at HeavyCon? Scott asks. There isn't a new Splatter prototype to play as of this moment. So if Jeroen brings it with him, then the answer is yes. If he doesn't, the answer is no. I don't know. But I do know that come Essen, there wasn't one. So yeah, the stuff that you had seen tweeted out previously, that got shelved. So back to the drawing board type stuff. So yeah. All right. So no, don't start that rumor. The stuff that got tweeted out previously, the picture with the tracks or the like conveyor belt looking thing, that got shelved. So, ooh, a splatter promo. Ask them. It's not really in our nature to go asking for people to do promos. If they want to do them, awesome for us. But we have never asked for one. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. That's just not... Yeah, if you guys would like to see it, then you can ask for us. But that's not something that we're going to go asking for. That just feels weird to me. Thanks, Jesse. All right. So that's it. Hey, like I said, 1:30 or it's now 2:10. Whatever, you know. Like you or I'm really surprised that this ran long. Not at all. No. All right. All right. So check it out. I have to go set up Altiplano for tonight's live stream. All right. So I'm going to leave you guys now. Now, I feel like I got it out of my system. Plus, I'll be honest, I'm out of tea. I need to go make some more tea. That was fun. So thanks, guys, for helping me procrastinate a little today. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And hopefully you got something out of this. And hopefully it made either your work day or your evening, depending on where you are, a little bit better. And, you know, help pass the time. We got to hang out. I enjoyed our quality time. Hopefully y'all did as well. All right. So yeah, should be fun. So we got 6 more days. We got alpacas, we got trains, we have key peoples, we have ships, Christmas trees still to go. Should be a fun time. All right, cool. You guys have a good night or good day, depending on where you are, and I will see you guys again in just under 5 hours with Altiplano. All right. Cool. Take care, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. I enjoyed it. I hope you all did too. Later.